Hi everybody and welcome to lesson number 22. So today you're gonna take the last big hurdle in this course. I'm gonna introduce you to some basic finger picking. What we've been doing so far is we've been strumming our chords either with a thumb or a guitar pick. What we're gonna learn today is how to pick these chords to play different types of songs or the same songs in a different way. And I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do step by step. And then in the next lesson, we're going to go back and revisit a couple of the songs that we've already learned. But instead of strumming them, we're going to use some basic picking. I'll see you in a second. So now let's look at our strumming hand. Instead of using the thumb or a guitar pick, as I just said, we're going to use our fingers. I'm going to introduce you to some very basic picking, and they're much more challenging and sophisticated finger pickings available, but those are really not appropriate to talk about in a beginner's guitar course. So what we're going to learn today is a very basic simple technique, or actually it's two different type of techniques that are very similar and related to each other. So for starters, what I want you to do is look at your thumb. Your thumb is always going to play either the E string, the A string, or the D string. It will never play any of the other three strings. So it will always stay up top here and play either one of the three strings that I just mentioned, and which specific one is determined by the chord we're going to play, and it will become clear in a second. Your index finger will always play the third string from the bottom, which is your G string. So this is the string that your index finger is going to pick. It will never pick any other string. As for your middle finger, it will pick the B string and the B string only. And your ring finger will pick the high E string and that string only. So you see it right here? That's it. So again, thumb will cover either one of the strings up here, and then your index finger G string, your middle finger B string, and your ring finger high E string. So your pinky may play an important role too, as you might want to use it in order to rest your hand on the body of the guitar, like right here around the sound hole. It depends on the size of your hands, and you may not want to do that at all. It's perfectly fine. There is no difference. Some people just prefer to kind of, stick the pinky to a certain point so their hand doesn't move around too much. Okay, why don't we build a G major chord here? You should be able to play that chord in your sleep now. Okay, so your thumb is going to pick the low E string. Your index finger is going to pick the G string. Your middle finger is going to pick the B string. And your ring finger is going to pick the high E string. Now you play that in a rhythmic pattern like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is my right hand only. Again, I'm playing a G major chord up here, and look, watch my fingers now of the right hand. Thumb. So, and that's really it. Now, the only challenging part here is, again, for your index finger, middle finger, and ring finger, it's always the same three strings here. But your thumb, it really depends what type of chord you play. So for the E minor, the E major 7, you play the E string up here, even though your finger is not on the E string as you build any of the E chords like E major, E minor, E7 and so forth. You would play the low E string and then the same strings, 3 strings down here. G major chord we just discussed. Same thing, exact same thing. Let's look at the D major chord. Well, with the D major chord, you're gonna pick the D string with your thumb. Very logical. As we just discussed for the E chords, you pick the E string. Now for the D chords, like D major, D minor, D major 7, you pick the D string, which is the 3rd string from the top with your thumb. And then, as usual, 1, 2, 3, down here, 1, 2, 3. For all A chords, you, guess what? Pick the A string, which is the 2nd string from the top. Okay, seems very logical. So again, all E chords, you pick the E string with your thumb. All A chords, you pick the A string with your thumb. All D chords, you pick the D string with your thumb. Now what about C, G and so forth? Well, the G major we just discussed. You would pick the E string too. And I guess the best rule, well, let's look at the C major chord first. You would pick the A string, not the E, but the A string. The best rule I can come up with is whichever finger is the one that is the furthest up on the top. I hope that makes any sense. So in other words, if we look at the G major chord, since the E string is covered by a finger, I would play the E string. C major chord is another good example. Since the E string is not being covered by any finger at all, but the A string is by this finger, the ring finger. So I would pick that particular string, the A string, as I play the C major chord. So, but again, the rule of thumb is E, A, and D, you just play the bass string accordingly. And then for the few remaining chords that we need in this course, so for example, the G major chord, since you are playing the low E string, since the low E string is covered by a finger, you would actually pick it. And for the C major, since you actually play, or the A string is covered by your ring finger, you would pick that one with your thumb. As we learn the next, or as we revisit the songs we have learned and apply that picking technique, I will let you know exactly which string you're supposed to pick, okay? So now let's do a couple of exercises. I want you to play the following chord progression. I want you to play an A minor, followed by a C major, followed by a D major, followed by an F major. So again, A minor, C major, D major, F major. And maybe that chord progression rings the bell because that's the beginning of House of the Rising Sun, a song that we learned a couple of lessons ago. So, A major chord. What string are we going to pick with our thumb? Yes, the A string, as we just explained. So A, 1, 2, 3, A, 1, 2, 3, okay? For the C major, you're gonna pick the A string too, because again, our ring finger is on the A string. D major, we're gonna pick the D string. F major. Now, since the index finger is covering the low E string, I'm gonna play the low E string. Okay, let's do that together slowly. We play each chord one time by using our standard picking technique, meaning 1, the bass string, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Okay, each chord one time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again. A major, C major, D major, F major. So you need to practice that a little bit, and I understand it gets a little tricky now because of course strumming is easier. Even if you don't hit all the strings accurately, it doesn't matter, the chord still sounds like a chord. Now with the picking, it's a little bit more tricky because little inaccuracies show off right away. So take things slowly at a very, very slow pace and gradually increase. Use the worksheet and practice along with the worksheet. And there are, in addition to the chord progression that I just showed you, there are a couple of more that I want you to practice by using this simple picking pattern. So now I'm going to take it one step further and I'm going to show you a tiny little bit more of sophistication here. Let's play a G major chord. Now it starts out the exact same way. 1, 1, 2, 3, as we just learned. Thumb, 1, 2, 3. But then I want you to go back with your 3 fingers here and play it like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, and back. Dun, dun. So with your 3 fingers here, you play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, dun, slowly. Index, middle, ring, middle, index. So you see that the fingers always pick the exact same strings, but here you went all the way down and now you come up. Again, start out with this picking technique. Practice this. And once you're comfortable with that, take it one step further and just add. Okay, I hope that was clear. You might have to rewatch that a couple of times, but I'm sure you'll get there. Keep practicing that, and then in the next lesson we're going to apply this technique to play House of the Rising Sun again.